Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm here for the aftermath to review West Ham's 2-0 home defeat to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Just finished watching the game. A lot to talk about. Generally negative things from West Ham's half. Overall thoughts of the performance, I thought very lacklustre. Majority of players are very much passengers. They just seem to play sideways and no real intent of going forward. No one really put in a proper decent shift. I say no one, but there were about 4 or 5 players that actually tried and actually contributed in some way. The rest of the players just roamed about. And with this club's current predicament, is that really what we should be doing? Because you look at the bottom 3 teams and all of them are showing fight. They're showing fight like they actually want to stay in the league. West Ham don't. We've had 3 months to prepare for stuff. We've had 3 months of preparation. Moyes says we're going to get back and right at it. We had a lot of time to prepare for Wolves and still nothing came of it. So I'm very annoyed about this defeat. Very annoyed at the performance. I'm going to give my views on the game and some of my observations. Let me start by reviewing the starting 11. Quite a few changes and few injuries reported before the game. Declan Rice started at centre-back because Angelo Ogbonna was injured, and in my opinion, that was going to be an assessment for the management to see how Rice could play in that position. He usually plays as a defensive midfielder, but him playing at centre-back alongside Issa Diop, it's not the same combination as Ogbonna Diop. Ogbonna Diop has been fairly strong. Also, a few other changes. Haller was injured, supposedly, but he should be back for the game on Monday. And we didn't start with a proper striker. Jarrod Bowen started up front, but he's not, first and foremost, a striker. He's a winger, he's an attacking midfielder. West Ham need a proper striker. So if we don't have Haller, there's Yeti. And Yeti's probably fuming that he didn't come on at any point in the game because West Ham were crying out for a striker. West Ham had 5 substitutions, not one of those was a striker. Yeti could have come on, or so could have Silva. But without a striker, West Ham have nothing up front. And yes, we are playing attackers, attacking midfielders, wingers up front, but it's not the same as having a striker. The other interesting thing was that Ngakia was playing, despite him being the contract rebel right now. Ngakia was playing in that game. I think it could probably be his last game for West Ham. He was taken off. Ryan Fredericks came on a little later. But I actually thought Ngakia had a very decent game, especially in the first half and half of the second half. He was closing down Wolves players. He was going forward. He had our only shot on target as well. And your only shot on target is coming from your right back. Says a lot, really. Okay, let me get into the first half of the game. Opening 10 minutes, very slow. I wouldn't actually say that West Ham really got off on the right foot. We didn't go and start running things straight away. If anything, Wolves were. They had more possession. They had more chances. They looked a little more dangerous. And the thing that I noticed a lot in the first half, West Ham's midfield and attackers were having to close down Wolves quite a lot. Jarrod Bowen, in particular, was doing Aaron Cresswell's job. Also, Mark Noble, Fornals and Souček were having to close down the Wolves midfield. Quite a lot. And that is a good Wolves team. That is a good midfield and 2 good strikers. How the scoreline was still 0-0 was kind of lucky. I took it, obviously, because we would still get a point out of it had it continued that way, but fortunate nonetheless. As for West Ham in the first half, big talking point, Felipe Anderson. Fans have been saying, fan pressure might be the reason why he's playing badly. Maybe fans should get off his back. It turns out that is not the case. He doesn't have that excuse now there's no fans in the stadium. In that first half, he did absolutely nothing. I remember a corner came in, the ball was loose, Anderson stood about here and he doesn't even move to try and get to it. He's got his back turned. 40 million Had a good first 3 months at West Ham, declined rapidly since then. Did nothing in that game, and rightly so, he was taken off later. After the drinks break, I think West Ham livened up a tiny bit. Souček had a shot at goal, and I think he was one of our best players on the day. Noble started getting a bit more involved in the midfield. Fornals had that shot way off target. So towards the end of that half, we were actually not looking, we're looking terrible, but some little glimpses of hope. And that's all I can really say. Still needed to change the formation, put on another striker, and actually give it to Wolves a bit more. I think what the big problem was is West Ham seemed scared of Wolves as well. Because Wolves are a good attacking team. Every single player, regardless of their position, just seemed to defend Wolves all the time. That seemed to be number one. We never countered. We never got the ball back and went in the other way. We had nothing in the final third. Crosses just kept coming in and no one's getting on the end of it. So in the second half, Ngakia had West Ham's first shot on target of the entire game. And it was West Ham's only shot on target at that point. A right back drilling it from range only for it to be saved. That was a better chance than any other player for West Ham had had. That was actually looking goal-bound. I would also say that in the second half, things needed to change in terms of the substitutes. Moyes took too long, in my opinion, to change up the game. I was very pleased to see Manuel Lanzini come on and Anderson being taken off. That was the correct decision. And Lanzini did come on. He had a little bit of flair. Put a good cross in, but like I said earlier, there's no one to meet on the end of it. He's just putting a cross in because he's feeling pressured to. And that's what it seems like. A reaction. Just a quick reaction. And that's what West Ham are right now. Reactive. As for the players, I knew that it was going to be tough as soon as Wolves brought Adama Traore on. The man's a beast. The man is an attacker. The man was going to do damage to us. And he did. Cresswell didn't mark him tightly enough. Traore cuts him behind, crosses it, and Raul Jimenez gets his head on it. And it's 1-0 Wolves. Partly Fabianski's fault, he didn't at least try to save it. But Cresswell shouldn't be allowing Traore to get behind him like that. As soon as that cross went in, I was panicking. I knew some Wolves player would get on the end of that. And whilst I'm on the topic of Traore, our whole defence seemed very scared of him. They were pushing back and letting him run. And that shows how much of a difference that one player made on Wolves' team. And he changed their fortune. The whole defence looked very shoddy and fragile as soon as Wolves made those changes. Mainly because Wolves also changed the formation and went more attacking. And what was the reward? 2 goals. Pedro Neto's goal, the second one, was a thunderous strike. I can't complain too much about his shot, but still, it was Cresswell letting a player cross it in and Pedro getting on the end of it. Our box was too open and gave that player enough room to shoot. That's exactly why we conceded the second goal. The other thing that really, really irked me was the time it took to make the substitutions and that we didn't utilise that option to make 5 subs. 2-0 down and then bring on 2 more players. That shouldn't happen. 0-0 on 60 minutes, that's when any manager would think, okay, we need to get a goal. Let's make a substitution, let's change things up a bit. And at that point, Moyes should have put on a striker, should have put on another 2 attackers, which he did in all fairness. He put on Lanzini and Yarmolenko. And also change the formation up a bit and take off anyone who was looking a bit tired. Most of those players did not put in the graft, the determination, the grit and fight that the club will need to stay up in the Premier League. The bottom three right now are actually trying to do something about that. They're not relying on luck, fate, chance. Because that's what West Ham did in 2017-2018. It was luck, fate and chance. And that's how they survived. We can't be doing that. We have to be our own club and help ourselves. And I don't see that. I don't see that after what I saw today. We're not our own club. We're not our own people. There's nobody who wants to actually carry the club. There's not enough leadership. There's not enough kick up the backside. West Ham's two best players today were Souček and Ngakia. Bowen also contributed a little bit. But here's the worrying thing. They say you need experience, generally speaking, to survive in a relegation battle. Isn't it worrying that West Ham's best 2 or 3 players have only been with the club the least amount of time? They've been with the club for just a few months. And yet they are already showing more about them than long-serving players. I'm very worried about the next 2 games. Tottenham away on Monday. Good London derby. I know West Ham have a good track record against Spurs and often do well against them, but I can't see that happening. Not on Monday anyway. And Chelsea, I'm even more worried about that. Wolves was the first chance to pick up points against a fairly beatable team compared to Spurs and Chelsea. Didn't do it. And a lot needs to change for the game against Tottenham. Formation needs to change. Need to actually play some proper strikers. Anderson dropped. Put in Yarmolenko or Lanzini. I wouldn't actually mind dropping Anderson. Because even if we do drop these bigger players, we still have a good bench. But having said that, Moyes doesn't seem to maximise the whole bench. 5 substitutions, they brought on 3 and brought them on too late. You want to change the game, you do it earlier. If I do sound very gutted and very annoyed, apologies. But don't expect me to be happy after watching the game today. I think a lot of West Ham fans feel the exact same. It's not frustration anymore. It's not even beyond a joke anymore. It's just the club shooting itself in the foot, preparing to go down, and just a major fall from grace, given how West Ham started the season. Everyone's to blame. Board are to blame for taking too long to fire Pellegrini and some would argue reappointing Moyes. Some would say it's the players not giving a damn, and that's fair enough, because those are the ones who are actually going out on the pitch and are supposed to win the games. But if they're just strolling around and doing nothing, what's the point? What's the point in wearing the badge? What's the point in representing West Ham United? Not there just to steal a living, you're there to put in graft. So actually put in graft. Go out there, do your job in the game. I'll take great effort and great performance and just unlucky not to win. I'll take that all day long. Don't mind that. But what I don't like and truly despise is players playing terribly and us losing. Because one fits into the other. That is what I hate. It's what I've not got time for. A lot of things need to change. And it's only 8 games left to do it. There needs to be some urgency, push forward, and actually players need to act as though they really want this. It's do or die from now till the end of the season. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more content. Back on Monday to review the Tottenham game. For now until then, I will be doing the game preview tomorrow, and I'll get some fan reactions possibly after the game on Monday. Thanks very much for watching. See you all soon.